Hey everybody, Dr. Oliver here for backintelligence.com, and today we're going to talk about spondylolisthesis, or what's also known as a slipped vertebrae. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button so you get access to the videos as we put them out on a routine basis. So when we're talking about spondylolisthesis, you're talking about one vertebrae on top of another, and what happens? It actually slips or gets pushed, usually forward. So this vertebrae will actually find itself in front of that lower vertebrae. So it varies in degrees, and it's usually graded based on how much it slips. So it can slip anywhere from 0 to 25, they consider that a grade 1, 25 up to 50, grade 2, 50 to 75, 3, and then 75 up to 99 is like a grade 4, and then if it slips off completely, that's a grade 5. Generally, grade 1 and 2 under the 50% are relatively stable and can be treated conservatively, which is good. Beyond that, generally, especially into the 4s and 5s, you're talking more the surgical route or it's an emergency situation, usually due to maybe trauma or something else. So we talked about the grading system of it. Well, how do we develop these spondylolisthesis? Essentially, there's two ways. It's either going to be congenital, meaning you're born with it, or it's acquired. There's different forms of acquired, whether it be through sports or trauma or degenerative changes. And we tend to see actually in the youth or the younger population, especially in adolescents when they are developing and growing, they tend to be in extension-based sports. It'll be like figure skating, gymnastics, dancing. You tend to see in male athletes, football players, linemen. It's because of the extended loads they put into their lower back, and it actually will cause a fracture right in what they call the pars here, which can cause an abnormal slippage because that's no longer stable at the back anymore. So there's multiple types of spondylolisthesis, yet most of the symptoms tend to be similar. Most people with these tend to have pain on extension. So leaning back will put more pressure into either that area that was fractured or the area that is unstable, causing more aggravation. And actually, as you extend backwards, it can accentuate that spondy, accentuate that forward push of that vertebrae. So we tend to see more pain on extension. So those are the activities we tend to want to avoid. You can also see, if it gets bad enough, abnormal nerve sensations, because as that vertebrae slips, there is a nerve that comes out in between, and if it gets far enough in front of the other vertebrae, it'll start to irritate that nerve. This can give you paresthesia, which are abnormal sensations that will follow that nerve path, or if you get bad enough, you can get weakness as well. Again, these are on the later degrees or the later grades of these spondies, but they are things that can develop. So if we know that extension-based activities can aggravate a spondy, then what should we do? Well, we should avoid those if possible. So if someone is engaged in an activity or sport where they're really extensively loading the extended position, then they need to stop that or modify that. And then we should do some exercises. So since it's not as stable as it should be, what should we do? Let's stabilize it. So let's do some exercise. Basic core stability where we're not actually moving this area, we're stabilizing it, is going to be crucial. So we're going to go over a few things that you can do at home. The first one's going to be a basic stretch. So the extended position for people with these tend to be aggravating, but the flexed position tends to feel better. So we're going to go over a knees to chest stretch that tends to feel good if you're feeling a little bout of irritation from this. And then we'll go over a couple core exercises. We'll go over a plank, which is a nice static hold and stabilizing, as long as you're in a good position, as long as you're not extended, which is a common fault in the plank, but we'll go over that. And then we'll also talk about the dead bug, which again is all about just stabilizing your midsection, your core, your spine, and building up that abdominal strength. So let's go over those now. So the first thing we're going to go over to deal with this spondylolisthesis is just give you a relieving position. So again, what tends to be aggravating with individuals with the spondy is that extension-based activities, because you're compressing this lower area, tend to be more irritating. So we want to try to avoid those. And if you're in a bit of a flare, you may want to go into a flexion position to try to relieve it. Now, you got to be careful with something like this. Flexion can be irritating to the lower spine as well, especially if there's any disc involvement and that sort of thing. So if you're doing this and it feels abnormal, it feels discomfort, don't do it. It's not a good one, and move on to the others. But generally, most people will feel some relief with this. So we got Leon down on the ground here, and he's essentially just laying on his back. And all he's going to do is extremely simple. He's going to grab one knee at a time, and he's going to bring it up to him. Good. He's going to grab the other. Once he gets in a nice, comfortable position, he's doing good. His head's relaxed back. He's not lifting up, and he's just relaxed. He's going to get some pull towards his chest. Again, you should feel a bit of a stretch on the back side there into the back a little bit. And then he's just going to do some gentle rolls side to side, maybe 10, 15 degrees each direction. Nothing excessive. This should feel relatively good. It should just feel like you're opening up that low back. And you're going to do this for a good 30 seconds to 60 seconds just to get some relief out of it. You can do this several times a day. That's fine. Again, you feel any discomfort in your back during it or when you get done, if it feels worse at all, don't do it again. But generally, this will feel relieving to most people with the spondy. When you come out of it, just caution, just really slow, move one leg out of it. So you let one leg go, kind of come out of it, let the other leg go as well, just to kind of make sure you don't stress or irritate any of the muscles in your low back. All right, now that we've gone over a relieving position, let's go over some core strengthening stuff. So again, we have some instability in that lower spine. Let's stabilize it. So one of the most basic exercises most people know for core stability and is your plank, right? So we're going to go for that anterior plank. So we're going to have Leon roll over on his stomach. And with this exercise in particular, we just want to make sure we don't do the common fault that we see in people all the time, and that's sagging in that low back. Because again, we're trying to get out of that extended position. So what we're going to tell Leon to do on the ground, even before he lifts up, is we're going to have him posterior tilt his pelvis a little bit. So he's going to kind of flatten his back out or almost arch it up a little bit. And using that position, I tell most people, tighten your stomach on the ground, really bear down and lift yourself up. So we want to get yourself up all the way, Leon, for me. Good, he's lifting up, good. And you can see he's not sagging down. There's no big dip here. He's nice and straight and solid through here. He's keeping tight in the core. And for these, you can pick the time. I don't like super long planks, but 20 seconds tends to be a good number for these. And then you're going to rest down out of it and shut everything down and relax and just make sure, again, you don't go in an extended position. So you drop down up top. And again, a couple second rest, posterior tilt, get flat in the back, tighten the stomach, lift yourself up, keep it flat. If you dip down and sag, you're going to irritate this. You don't want to do it. You would feel it and it wouldn't feel good. So you start out again with those 20-second holds. If you find 20 seconds is too taxing and you feel any tension or abnormal strain in your back, go to 10. That's fine. You can start out with that. So we're doing 20-second holds. We try to get up to about 5 reps of those and then we rest. But at any point you start to feel your low back kick on or really get tight, stop. It's not designed for this. You should be feeling this all in the anterior core, your abdominal wall, maybe your hips and glutes, but you should not be feeling your low back. A lot of people feel like they should be. You should not. It should not be your low back. If it is, you're dipping down or you're recruiting your low back. You could go to modification if need be. So if you went down, we could have Leon try to go to his knees and essentially just bend your feet up a little bit, Leon, for me, and just rock back and make sure you don't sag into that back. Again, he's keeping a nice straight position. It's a lot easier. You can use that core. So if you need to initially, you can do this as well. And you build up the strength and then you'll be able to get into it. But again, no stress in your back. You shouldn't even feel like it's really tightening. And you should not get done with this exercise and feel worse. If you do, it's something going on with your positioning probably. So modify it and go to the knees if you need to be. All right, great. So we have that exercise. Then we're going to go to another core strength exercise. We're going to have Leon flip over now. And we're going to go on your back. We're going to go into what I consider one of the better core exercises. Again, it's a safe exercise generally for this. It's the dead bug. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume the position Leon's in right now. He's on his back. He's got his knees bent, feet on the floor. We're going to concentrate on what's going on in that low back, right? So he's really importantly, he's not going to have a big arch in there, right? So he's going to stick his hand, see what's going on there. He should be flatter, almost touching the ground. It should be very difficult for him to even get his hand in there. He may be able to slide it just in there, but he should not have a big gap. If you do, you got to tuck that pelvis backwards, flatten your back to the ground. So from this position, he's going to engage his abdominal wall so he doesn't lose that. So he's going to be real tight in his core right here. Imagine someone's just punching you in the stomach. So tight core. He's going to lift up one leg at a time. Good. He's going to lift up the other leg. So he's 90 degrees at his knee, 90 degrees at his hip. His core is tight. He's making sure he doesn't feel his back. And then he's going to slowly extend one leg away as far as he feels comfortable. The only place he should feel this is his stomach. He should not feel his back. If you extend away and you hit a point where you start to feel your back, that's too far. So reduce your range. I don't care if initially you can only go to right about there and come back. You'll have to build and work upon it to get the strength. That's fine. Over time, you should be able to extend your leg further. Only go as far as your core will let you. If you start to feel your back engage, it's too far, pull back. So this is the easy version of the bug, just the legs. And then if we want to advance it later on, as you feel comfortable, we'll have Leon stick the arms up in the air and you do opposites away. So opposite arm, opposite leg, extend away. and you're being really conscious of this low back here, that it's not arching. We'll have Leon demonstrate what would be wrong with this exercise. So as he extends away, you'll see that he lifts off. He's actually getting a gap right in under here. That's not good. You're going into that extended position. You're losing the core control. So keep nice and tight in your core. You should feel contact with that ground in the low back and just kind of own that position and lock it in. So 5 on each side is generally a good number, no matter which one you're doing, and you do 3 sets of 10. So try these exercises, try the relieving position to see if it helps you if you have the spondylolisthesis. And really want to work on stabilizing that area. And generally, again, if it's one of the earlier grades, you can work on it, you can stabilize it, and you can be fine. You just have to avoid things that tend to stress it.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and share it with a friend. Also, research shows that strengthening your core area can help relieve some of that low back pain that you're feeling. But it's important to know which exercises specifically to do and how. And you want these exercises to be both effective and safe for your spine. And we have just the PDF for that. So if you'd like to get a free PDF of core exercises that are safe for your spine and are very effective, there's going to be a link to get them somewhere here on the video or down below in the description. Just go to that page, enter your email, and we'll send you that PDF right away.